I knew something was wrong when the highway vanished behind me without me ever turning. I was driving home late after visiting a friend, the kind of late when the air feels heavier and every mile seems quieter than the one before. I'd used that same highway for years, long, boring, predictable, a straight shot home. I could have driven it half asleep and still known exactly where I was. But that night, right from the moment I emerged onto the road, something felt off. At first it was subtle. The forest on both sides seemed thicker, like the trees were leaning inward, crowding the shoulder. I brushed it off as fatigue, turned up the radio, but even that didn't help. The station dissolved into static as if I'd driven into a tunnel. I checked my phone. No signal. That never happened on this stretch. I kept driving, expecting to see the first exit sign within 2 minutes. But the road stayed blank. No markings, no reflective posts, no green signs announcing towns or distances. Just endless asphalt stretching ahead, swallowed by darkness. And then I realized something that made my pulse slow and heavy. I hadn't seen a single other car. Not one. Just me, the forest, and the road that felt like it was stretching further than it should. Then I saw him. A man standing on the shoulder, facing away, hands in his pockets. He didn't step back, didn't react, didn't even flinch when I passed. Just stood completely still, like a mannequin someone left there as a joke. My stomach tightened. I sped up, telling myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe he was stranded. Maybe he was drunk. Maybe. 20 seconds later, my headlights caught him again. Same jacket, same posture, same distance from the road. I slammed the brakes so hard, the seatbelt cut into my collarbone. My heart hammered as I stared ahead. The man hadn't moved, but I had driven past him twice. Without turning, without looping. The road should have been straight. Hands shaking, I pulled to the side, opened the door and stepped out. The air was cold enough to sting. The forest on both sides felt unnaturally silent, the kind of silence that screams danger. The man was still standing about 20 meters ahead, head bowed slightly as if he were listening for something beneath the earth. "Hey," I called out, forcing the word past a tight throat. He didn't turn, didn't twitch, didn't breathe, as far as I could see. I took one uncertain step toward him. That's when I heard it. A crack deep in the forest, a heavy branch snapping under real weight, then another. Something walking toward the road with slow, deliberate steps. The man lifted his chin and finally turned around, and whatever relief I'd been hoping for dissolved instantly. His face was wrong. Not injured, constructed incorrectly. Like someone had tried to recreate a human face from memory but got the proportions slightly off. His smile was far too wide, extending almost to his ears. His eyes were placed a little too high, staring with an expression that wasn't emotion, just imitation. Something big moved behind the trees. I couldn't see it, but I felt it. The way the ground seemed to tremble with each step. I ran. I sprinted back to the car, slammed the door, and floored the gas pedal. Gravel spat from beneath the tires as the car lurched forward. When I glanced into the rearview mirror, my breath caught. He was standing right at the edge of the road now. Much closer than before. And he hadn't walked there. He was simply there. Behind him, between the trees, several tall, thin shapes retreated into the shadows the instant my headlights touched their limbs, like insects avoiding the light. The road ahead twisted unnaturally, curves that didn't belong on a highway I knew by heart. Every second felt stretched, wrong. I kept my foot on the gas, whispering to myself, "Don't stall, don't stall, don't stall." Then, just like that, familiar signs appeared. Exit numbers, reflectors, billboards, cars in the opposite lane. The world snapped back like nothing had happened. By the time I pulled into my driveway, my hands were trembling so violently I could barely get the key into the lock. Inside my apartment, the silence felt safer, but not safe. Because one thought kept echoing through my head. Something on that road let me go, but something else wanted me to stay. And since that night, I haven't driven the highway alone. Not at night, not even in broad daylight.